everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the Daiwa Foundation. My name's Jason James. Sorry I was a little bit late. My colleague Shioka locked me in my office, so I was calling her mobile, but that was also locked in her office. Anyway, I'd like to introduce tonight's speaker, Florencia Guerberof, who's going to be showing some films about Butoh and also explaining what it's all about to us. And this is actually of great interest to me as well, because I have never been to a presentation or seen a performance of Butoh, but I've been hearing more and more about it over the last couple of years, not least from one of our Daiwa scholars that we have sent out to Japan for 18 months who wants to specialize in this area. So I'm hoping to learn a lot this evening. Florencia originally comes from Argentina, but she's based in London, and she's founded in London Asian Performing Arts UK. And she has a background from a variety of different arts, fine arts, art theory, philosophy and dance, having got a first-class degree in fine art painting from the Glasgow School of Arts. And from what I hear about it, one of the attractions of Butoh is very much that it's on the borderline between dance and philosophy. She has done extensive research in Tokyo on Butoh, particularly under Yoshito Ono, who's the son of one of the founders of this particular dance form. That was because of a Scottish Arts Council grant that she received. And she performs widely in London and also in Paris. And I think rather than ramble on any longer, I'll hand over to you, Florencia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to see such large audience tonight. I am delighted to be invited by Daiwa Anglo-Japanese Foundation to present this screening. I want to thank you, Jason James, Director General, Shihoko Ogawa, Program Director, Susan Mehan, who cannot be here tonight, who is a grants officer, and also Keiko Koshihara, who is the events assistant. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, so this screening comprises 3 different films, and the first 2 films reflect my experiences in Japan back in 2008 and 2009. So I'm gonna show you the first film called Duration and the second film called Impressions. The third film is entitled Still Move, and it's a 45 minutes documentary by Marie Schroeder. And this is a courtesy of Pars Media Films. This film was released in 2003 and portrays Japanese dancer and choreographer Saburo Teshigawara, who you might have seen in Sadler's Wells. He is truly an inspiration for me, and he is amazing. He's a multidisciplinary artist. He studied mime, contemporary dance, Butoh, and he's also a visual artist. So we're gonna move on to presenting the first film, which is entitled Duration. So I have a few ideas that I would like to talk about before we see it, for you to have like a bit of a clearer idea of what I'm showing. So the first film is inspired by ideas triggered by Butoh dance, and more specifically, it focuses on the act of walking. So walking in Butoh dance is the main thing. The walking body is at the root of Butoh, and there's a few ideas that I think they're fascinating about the act of walking. And the first one is that in Butoh, when we walk, the spirit comes first and the form catches up behind. The second idea is that we can think of our own body as fragile as ash. So imagine a cigarette and the ash at the top. So they think that in the ash walk, a single step might make the body collapse at any instant. Quite frightening, but really interesting thoughts. One of my favorites. And the third one says that there are different qualities in the act of walking. So for instance, it's not the same to see an old man walking, to see a child walking, or a woman. So like there's something like very essential. So in this sense, walking is like dancing for Butoh. And there's another very interesting account of walking, which is quite existential. They believe that we walk in the middle of two opposite forces. One is the life force pulling us upwards, and death is the force pulling our body through our own body weights, the gravity pulling it down, closer to the ground. So they say, yes, when we are alive and walking, we walk in between these two opposite forces. Also, when we walk, there is something we leave behind, they say. So this thing behind us becomes our history, our past, our background. At Kazuo Onodan's studio, I have practiced walking holding different objects, so we can absorb their qualities through a process of transformation. So it's not that I carry the object walking, but it's more that the object carries me. So in this sense, I absorb the quality of the object through a process of transformation. And finally, I want to talk about a great man, one of my nicest memories in Tokyo. It's very funny that my nicest memory in Tokyo was just around the corner or in front of my house. So he used to live opposite my house and he was my neighbor. And he added something very special to my mornings, a sort of transcendence, if you want it in a more poetic tone. So I can say, might sound a bit of a cliche, but his simplicity elevated me out of the ordinary. So I recorded him for over 6 months in his routine of going out and returning to his house. And I don't think he was aware of being filmed, but by the end of my stay, he became a lot more familiar with my presence, and we even exchanged a few smiles after 6 months. Can you believe that? So the key concept of the film is duration, and there's a great female Butoh artist who is now quite old, but I admire this woman deeply. She's called Yoko Ashikawa, and she says, "What we see is constantly changing, but the conditions for change are regular. Change is the condition of dance." Konnichiwa. The second film we're going to see is entitled Impressions. This documentary consists of recordings during my Butoh training in Tokyo during 2008 and 2009. The footage shows my training with some leading figures of Butoh dance such as Yoshito Ono, Tadashi Endo, and Kudo Taketeru. These three artists have different approaches to the dance form, which is quite exciting. We're gonna have Tadashi Endo in London quite soon this year for Butoh workshop training and also for a lecture demonstration. We also hope to invite Kudo Taketeru next year. Yoshito Ono is Kazuo Ono's son. I trained with him and he's the most generous man I ever met. He's got a terrific sense of humor and I learned most of the basis of Butoh through him. And I was thrilled that he allowed me to film him, and I was quite naive at the time I was in Tokyo and I didn't really expect to gather all the material and make this documentary. He had very limited English and I asked him, Yoshito-san, portrait? And he knew only two words, different and important. So when I said to him, do you mind if I film Kazuo Ono's shoes and Kazuo Ono's objects? And he said, yeah, no problem. And then I said, Yoshito Ono-san, portrait. And he said, hi. So he stood up and he told me, can I move? Can I do whatever I want? And I said, of course, you're the master, you can do whatever you like. And then I selected a very short excerpt. Tadashi Endo is quite philosophical and it was a huge inspiration in my work, especially the way he talks about shadows. And Kudo Taketeru is considered the wildest character. He belongs to the third generation of Butoh artists, and yes, he's quite visceral. It is described his work and more physical, and also he draws attention a lot to the folk of Japanese culture combined with modern dance. So this footage also includes some of my interpretations of Butoh concepts through some of recorded impressions of my surroundings in Tokyo, just round the corner from my house where I used to live. So you're gonna see me as well. So I have recently gathered and edited this footage that I recorded about 5 years ago. And after such long time has passed, I have discovered that new things. And everything that I have captured in the past makes more sense to me at present, and this has surprised me. From my experience in Japan, I learned that time is a very important matter, and the passage of time makes things more solid and meaningful.
Student of dance. Paris. けれど、子供が見てもね、もう少しね、本気がないとね、本気が、みんなカッコつけちゃって、本気がないとね、一回でもいいから、子供たちが、こう、ルールぐらいの、こういうものが、ああ、これがクールってことか。いうような、これがそうなんだ。だから、出側で、外はギャーって、自分だし、人と祝福だったら、スーッと祝福があったっていう、そういうことに、そういう本気がないとね、ただやってたんじゃないんだよ。なんとなくやってたんじゃない。子供をよくしたいです。こもってるよね。こんなとこ入っちゃダメよっていうところだと思うってところは。これはこれで、それからスッとここにコッとこういうふうにしてキュッとこうすればね、このスペースがここに花がなるでしょ。これがキュッとなるわけですよ。空間が出るんですよ。空間スケース。手だって空間がここにね、ただこういう手なのか、ここに空間がこうできるかっていうのを大きな空間で。ある意味でさっきの鳥はね、外側が、鳥とは何かっていうと、外側だ。外側のことが、鳥っていうのは、キャーって言ったり、キュッって言ったり、アウトサイドに。で、それで花というところが自分の内部のことだ。だからこの美しさとか優しさとかデリカシーがこう出てくる。あなたの中からこう出てくる。表現することじゃない、見せることじゃない。自分の中から出てくる。あなたのデリカシーやあなたの優しさやそういうのがいかに出てくるか。
大切にね、自分の体ですからね、瞑想ではない。その心を一生懸命見てるときは、他の影も動いてるかもしれない。他の闇も動いてる。ということは、影をこう見ると難しい。 そうやっては影見れないわけです。みんな見てるとやっぱりこう体をねじってね、顔を白いであるとか、こういう身体障害者の形、こういう波にあるエネルギーっていうのはやっぱり強烈になる。このエネルギーっていうのはこういうスペースの位置を決めますけど、もっともうだけこの辺の本当に深いところまで来てください。指の間、足の指の間、くるぶし。なんか土方さんが私は幸せな時はあまり踊らないようにしてるんですよっていうようなことをね言ってますよね。だからなんか僕は早く出てくるお客様いっぱいいます。日本なんか本当ヨーロッパよりも知られてないですね。こういう時みんなね、ブラジルなんかもそうだけど楽しくてママとなんだね、サンバとかね、カポエロとかね、こういうことに言ってるんじゃないんですよ。
Adeus, minha praça, onde adeus. Já sabemos que vai desaparecer. Leva contigo a nossa recordação. Mas ficarás eternamente em nosso coração. Boa praça, onde vai haver mais cidade bela, não vai.
さっき言ったように暗闇から抜け出す。誰だって闇の一生の暗い下につけるとなっている人はいないわけなんです。そこへ時間が特に私なんか先生の初めて見た。私が初めて見たのは1972年放送の式のための27番放送館っていうのを見たんですけど、それはさっき言った高級女子の名女人たちがあの時の印象っていうのははっきり言って私は舞踏をやりたいとは思わなかった。だけどなんかこんなのが世の中にあるのかっていうようなショックは受けました。でその時に思ったのはなんか舞踏の昨日ソエさんの匂いとかそういうサルはしてましたけど、なんか舞踏独特の匂いがしたんですね。あの頃は私は暴れて芝居やってましたけど、なんというか、それが体の匂いなのか、土の匂いなのか、何か子供の匂いなのか、空気の匂いなのか、わからないけど、何か匂ってるけど、1997年に私たちの5回目のゲッティングのフェスティバルに、もう土方さんが亡くなった後ですけど、 元氏さん、土方さんの移動地元氏さんを招待した。その時に元氏さんが放送団のビデオを持ってきてくれたんです。そして会場の大きなスクリーンで見ました。涙が出ました。自分なりになんか初めて本当に見た気がしました。あの匂いは何だった。生ハゲのことを思い出した。その時にやはり具体的な見えるこの体で見えない魂を見せようとしている。
パソコンでこれ撮れるんですか？パソコンでこういうふうにして。
It's a chair. Chair. See?
はい。おー。
you very much.